Hi COP 1000 students, welcome to Module 7A. This is going to be about the decision statement and some live programming examples. And also I'm going to show you how to set up a project using MyCharm. So if you recall, or PyCharm. If you recall, we installed this software. So you're going to run it. As so. I'm going to run it as so. Let me move this down. Okay. You're going to run it. It's going to kind of look like this. And then here's the difference. You're going to say File, New Project. You're going to give this project a name, such as My Project. You can place it wherever you want on your system, on a flash drive, and then you're going to say Create. I like to say New Window. You can do it in the same window, but typically I say New Window. So I'm kind of starting completely from scratch. The only problem with the new window is it creates this virtual environment, so it's a little slower. But that's entirely up to you. Okay, so now I'm ready to rock and roll. I don't have a source document yet, so I'm going to come up here on my project. I'm going to right click and say New File. So now I'm going to create my first source document, and I'm going to name it mysource.py. You can name it anything you want, but definitely put the .py. Now I'm in a document for the first time. So let me show you. I think I might have a little bit of code here. So I'm demonstrating PyCharm and the decision statement, and we'll do this in a little bit. But what I just want to show you is just how this is going to, how you're going to run it. So I'm going to just do a print statement. And notice there is no button to run it. It's actually right here, this little arrow that will turn green. Now I can hit Shift F10 to run it, or for the first time, and only the first time, I'm going to say Run, and I'm going to go right here, because this is highlighted, or I could hit Alt Shift F10, and I could pick various programs to run if I had, or files to run if I had them open. I want to run my source. It just ran, and it says this statement always runs, this statement always runs. And now this is green for me to run it again. I'll just put some dots behind this, and now I can just click Run, and this statement always runs. So the nice thing is it's like all in one, and the window's down here, and I can just, instead of having to close it out every time, I can hit Run, 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 Run. There are other benefits that you're going to see later, but that is using PyCharm for now 101. So in general, it doesn't matter if you use idle or if you use PyCharm. It's totally up to you. Typically, when you do bigger projects, you will use PyCharm because it has other benefits for bigger projects. For this class, either one, your choice. Okay, so now I'm going to demonstrate the decision statement. Let's just write a rule. We're going to say ask the user for an exam score, and then if the score is over 80, now let's say over or equal to 80, we will say good job. That's it. So that's my my specifications for now. So I'm going to leave that block comment. I'm going to come down inside of the main function, and I'm going to get the score from the user. So score gets, I'm going to convert that into an integer. I'm going to use the input function, and I'm going to say Something like, please enter your exam score. Notice I always put a colon and a space. That's my personal preference. So then when this runs, it'll look like this. Please enter your exam score. By the way, one thing that's annoying is the cursor's up here, but you have to click in this window. So please enter your exam score. And notice there's a little bit of space between the colon and the where I type. I don't like typing down here underneath. That's, again, it's up to you. Okay, so far so good. Let's go a little farther now. Let's go a little farther. Okay, so let's actually put the if statement in. If the score is greater than or equal to 80, we're going to say good job. Notice it's indented for me automatically. Anything in these indented exactly where this cursor is will be a part of this if statement. I'll say good job, and I'm just going to show the score too so we can see it. Okay, so now when this runs, if I type a number 80 or higher, it's going to say good job, and then it's going to say this statement always runs. If I type a number less than 80, it's not going to say good job. It's just going to say this statement always runs. So I'm going to have to stop the old program. I'm going to run it, enter a score. So I type a number less than 80. So this is not going to be true. It's going to say this statement always runs. I'm going to hit enter, and it says this statement always runs. So it skipped this good job. I'll run it again. I'll enter a number 80 or higher. In this case, I'll type 80. It better say good job, and then this statement always runs. Good job, and then the 80, and this statement always runs. By the way, I don't need that space there. And I could run that over and over and over again. So I can type 999. Good job, 999. This statement always runs. So this is conditional based on this condition. All right, let's change the rules and do this program again. So let's say if it's over 80, we'll say good job. Otherwise, we will say you need to study harder. So we're either going to say good job or you need to study harder. So if you remember from the previous video, that is the else part. The else part, and we'll just put that print statement. All right, so at this point, one of these two clauses, this print or this print, is going to fire for sure. This will always fire. So it's either going to say good job, and then the score, and then this statement always runs, or it's going to say you need to study harder, and the score, and then this statement always runs. It can never do both of these, but it will always do one of these. Let's run it. Enter a score. I enter 88. It better say good job. This statement always runs. Good job. This statement always runs. I'm going to enter a number less than 80. In this case, 78. And obviously it's going to say you need to study harder. 78. The statement always runs. So there's my if and my else. And that's the second flavor of an if statement. And let's add one more thing to this. Let's say, let's make the rule change. Instead of good job, we're going to say if the score is less than if the score is less than 60, they really need to study. Otherwise, keep up the good work. So notice if they score 80 or higher, we're going to say good job. If it's less than 60, we're going to say you need to study. So anything between 60 and 79, it's going to say keep up the good work. All right, so there's the greater than 80 part. And now I have three possibilities. I have good job, you need to study, or keep up the good work. You can take your number of possibilities, minus 1, and the number of times you're going to have the keyword if. So I am going to have if a second time. This time it's going to be else if. And here's my second condition. If the score is less than 60, if that's true, I will print you really need to study. And a colon here and a colon here. So there's the two statements. The only thing that's left is what I'm going to call the otherwise, which is where we're going to say keep up the good work. So in here is where we say keep up the good work. Let's take a look at what just happened here. This is interesting. I have three possibilities, 1, 2, 3. When I run this, one of these three will run, one of these three will print, this one, or this one. The other two will be completely skipped, and this print will always happen. So if I enter a score 80 or higher, it's going to say good job, and then it's going to say this statement always happens. If I enter a score less than 60, which would be 59 or less, it's going to say you really need to study, skipping good job, skipping keep up the good work, this statement always runs. If I enter a score that's not greater than or equal to 80 and not less than 60, it's going to say keep up the good work, skipping these two prints, and this statement always runs. Let's run it. Enter a score. They got a 0. You really need to study. The score was less than 60. You really need to study. Let's run it again. Let's give them a 60 exactly. A 60 exactly. Keep up the good work, 60. Let's take a look if that makes sense. Is the score greater than, is 60 greater than or equal to 80? No. Is 60 less than 60? No. Keep up the good work. Let's run it again. Let's enter a score of 81. Is 81 greater than or equal to 80? It is. Good job. Skip the rest. This statement always runs. Okay. So far, so good. Let's do one more. Let's change this. Ask these for the score, then display the letter grade A, B, C, D, or F based on a 10-point grading system. All right, so I'm going to start this from scratch, other than I'll leave that last statement there. So, well, not completely from scratch. I'm going to get the score. So basically now I want to display A, B, C, D, or F. So let's start. What is an A? If the score is greater than or equal to 90, I believe that's what we're going to define an A in a 10-point grading system. Print, you got an A for the course. And again, I don't have to do this. Because I'm lazy, I'm going to copy this. I'm going to say else if the score is greater than or equal to 80, you got a B for the course. Now, because I'm lazy, I can copy this several times. So that was a B. This is going to be a C. This is going to be a D, and I don't have to copy it for an F. So A, B, and let me make a couple minor changes. C and D. So a B is greater than or equal to 80, a C is greater or equal to 70, and a D is 60. Okay, let's take a look at the last part of this. The last part is just my else, and my else says, if you didn't get these grades, then you had to get an F. Now that looks pretty complicated, but it's not really, but it looks pretty complicated. Let's just trace through with an example. Let's say somebody types in a 90. Is the score greater than or equal to 90? It is. You got an A. Skip. This statement always runs. Let's try an 82. Is 82 greater than or equal to 90? It's not, so I skip this. Is 82 greater than or equal to 80? It is. I do this and skip the rest. So notice the second I hit something true, everything else is skipped. Let's try 50. Is 50 greater than or equal to 90? No. Is 50 greater than or equal to 80? No. Is 50 greater than or equal to 70? No. Is 50 greater than or equal to 60? No. Well, then it has to be an F. Let's take a look at one more thing. How many possible outcomes do I have here? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. 5 outcomes. Take 5 minus 1. That's the number of times you better see F over here. 1, 2, 3, 4. 5 minus 1 is 4. 4 ifs. So I take the number of possible outcomes, subtract 1, and that's the number of times I see if. If I have less than 4 ifs, I have a problem. If I have more than 4 ifs, I have a problem. I'm going to run it a couple times, and then I'm going to end this video. So I'm going to enter a score. I'm going to enter a score. By the way, that's you got an F. This statement always runs. Let's do it again. I'll do a, I see this time's getting long. 77, I better say a C. Is 77 greater than 90? No. Is 77 greater than 80? Yes. Is 77 greater, or no. Is 77 greater than or equal to 70? It is. You got a C. You got a C. Okay, gonna pause this.